So it's a shame. I would like to have kept the standard exhaust, but it was kind of too far gone. It's 30-year-old. So a couple of patch jobs. Pretty sure if I cut the actual silencer skin off, it just leaves a pipe with a couple of holes in it. You could maybe patch them up, but it's temporary. For folly over here, we do have a full stainless system in that box there. Problem is, everyone wants. I took the exhaust off and I sent photographs and everything, but everyone wanted the car down. So the only way I can get the car down is to get it through an MOT and drive it down. So this is kind of the only option we have, is to repair this silencer. The rest of the pipe itself's actually not too bad. There's a kind of wee scabby bit on there, just around there, but I'm hoping to maybe get away with that. It's just enough to get it so as we can insure it and get it through its MOT and create its profile and drive it down till we get the new system made up for it. So again, I'm not a professional welder, but if it does the job, we'll smear it up with some exhaust putty just to make sure it's airtight, but I'm not a pro. I just learned myself. QC's out to inspect the welds. Welcome back to Identity Car Care, guys. On today's episode we're going to be focusing on continuing the Nissan Match Super Turbo. So just to follow down my list, today's episode is going to be based on the exhaust, putting the exhaust back together. It's the standard exhaust that's going back on. That wasn't originally supposed to happen. I was supposed to get a new system made, but as I've said in the previous episode, we need the car to go to the fabricator to make the exhaust. So we've patched the old one up because we're going to have to get the MOT and it registered first. So we've patched the old one up. So we're going to just take you through that today. We're going to get it all buttoned up, and then that'll lead us into the... I think we're going to skip that one and we'll go into the engine bay next, because the exhaust bolts into the engine bay, so we might switch them round. But let's see if I can remember how to put this back together. Okay, just before we start, just gives a look over the components that we're using. So if we take you up to the where we bolt onto the turbo here, this is the cart. When removing the downpipe, which would be this section here, the studs broke. Typical. So we had to take it to a kind of engineering place, local, and they extracted the studs and put new studs in for us. So we've got that ready to go back in. It would have been ideal if we didn't have to take this off, but when it broke we had to get the studs replaced. So we've got this to go in first, and then it'll be this the downpipe here with the centre section there, and then to the rear silencer. When I removed the gaskets, they were all destroyed, so I don't have the new ones, but luckily there's two that came with the exhaust kit that we ordered. So we're going to use, sorry about the mess guys, we're going to use these ones. They're just marginally bigger, but they're going to be ideal just for what we're using today to get it patched back up. So we're going to head, we've got the car up on the ramp still from last time, so we're going to be working under here. I'll try and do my best. I'm buying myself again today, so we'll do our best to bring you guys along, show you what we're up to, getting the exhaust back on. We'll lower the car and we'll start from the top. We'll get this section here all back together, and then we'll go underneath. So I'm going to take this down with me. I'm going to try and slip it from the top. I would like to bring you guys with me underneath, but I'm hoping it's only going to be a second, so if you bear with me.
A few moments later.
So you've kind of managed to get it sitting roughly lined up for the bottom. Things are starting to come back to me already. That I'm sure there was a cross brace, like an engine brace down the bottom, which will be that, which I had to take off to lower it. So things are starting to come back to me already, but it's still a jigsaw, so still left myself in a bad place. I'll try and set you guys up. I'm sure I might need to do a wee bit of editing here. Let's get this lined up. never easy. It's never straightforward. Oh. That's what happens when you don't have your producer. What's happening here? There's something obstructing me. Just going to do the old wiggle. See if we can get it to settle.
Eventually.
I've managed to get that on now, guys. Sorry you went with me, it was a bit of a hassle. It was actually, as you see down the back there, if I can get my lever, and I'll touch my lever down in, like there. It was that little bracket bit, you can see that, where my lever's just pointing to. It's got to sit in down there, it's still not sitting 100%, but I've managed to slip it into shape. Just need to watch that I've not nicked, because it was very difficult. I used my lever down in the bottom to just persuade it in towards, and that got me started, and then I just used my rubber mallet and gently tapped while I levered, and it slipped over. But we just need to be careful that we've no nicked any threads, so we'll double check. If we need to clean them up, we can dye them. I've got a tap and dye kit there. So that's that bit on. I'm just going to button it up now. I'm a little bit concerned that we might just have nicked that thread on this one here when we're putting the manifold section of the catalytic converter back on, so we're just going to be extremely careful with that we don't righty tighty doesn't become lefty loosey. Yeah, and as usual guys, we're always starting everything with our fingers, especially when you get to old cars like this. The last thing you want to do is cross thread and break. You can't get the parts. Yes, you could get someone to machine parts and stuff, but you're going to end up being expensive repairs. That one started okay to be honest, but we'll need to keep an eye on it. Expensive repairs, all because a silly mistake, so we'll just start everything with its fingers. And then that way, we know we're not making any mistakes, and it's not going to cost us more. Projects like this already cost enough. A car this age and a kind of modern classic cost me a lot just to get this in the first place, never mind what we're going to have to spend on it to get it back into its glory days. So we don't want to be making any mistakes. This is where I mentioned earlier my wrist's fused, so I have to adapt. I can't bend my hand down in there to get that awkward one in the bottom, so I have to use my right and I have to face the other way. It's very difficult for me, but it's something I've just had to try and adapt. I got this injury before I became a mechanic, so having to learn everything different is very challenging. Especially when I'm doing tight engine bay jobs, it's very difficult for me. Just have to overcome and adapt. Might take me a little bit longer, but we get there all the same if we just keep patience. Gonna see if I can use my battery ratchet to get into these if it fits. I'm just going to nip them up slowly. I've got the downpipe, my catalytic back on. Down there, it's just rubbish for you guys. If as we grow and stuff, we're going to try and look at getting a couple of GoPro cameras for my head instead of using this setup, just to give you guys a better view of what we're up to. But obviously, at the beginner stage, we've got to use the beginner's tools. So that's the first section. We're now going to go underneath. There's a cover, a heat shield that's to go in here. As I remember, it was horrendous to get off. Horrendous. Try to think with the bolt. So it must go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that one broke. As you can see, that was absolute gubbed. We'll see what we can do about cleaning these up before we put them back on to make sure it's. In fact, that one there looks like one that's broken as well. That should be a hole. So it might have broke 2. Or that one looks as if it's actually already broken. That's very old. That one's a bit more fresh, so you can see that I probably broke. But we're going to need to clean them up before, because we want the heat shield back on. We want everything to be original. We must have it laying at the side. So just, I think on the first video as I showed you guys, I was talking about, I actually originally thought these were 3-cylinder. As you can see, when you take this cover and stuff off, you've got 1, 2, 3 right in front of you, and that looks like pretty much it. But the fourth one's actually down in there. You see that's the coil plug for it. So it is in fact a 4-cylinder. To be honest guys, I'm not a genius on these cars. The only reason I bought one is because I bought a poster, a signed poster for Mighty Car Mods, and I always thought that's a cool little car. And then the opportunity came up to get one, so if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have bought it. It's not a car that I had a lot of knowledge in, so that's why I bought it. I bought it because they had theirs and I thought it was cool. So, and then I had the chance and I thought, you're probably never going to get the chance again to own one. So we're very much learning as we go on this. We'll do a full major service before, but that's engine bay, that's another story. We're going to get the car back up as high as we can, and then we're going to start on the underneath. Right guys, we're underneath. This is the first section exhaust. This is our downside. We're just going to use my drill and my wire wheel to clean up the mating surface. I found 2 new nuts that we're going to use for the new studs that we put on. Again, it's just temporary, but we're just going to clean up this mating surface. Just noticed something. Just noticed something, guys. I think it's going to need to go under that sway bra. Damn it! I'm going to need to feed it through this way and then up in, because that's not going to sit properly. No chance, that's just rubbish. We need that silencer to sit up in the turret. Back off we come! Wait to see what... Right guys, we're back in position 1. The ramp's back up. It was supposed to go under the sway bar, which is helping me because that's holding the back silencer. And so we're back to our original spot. It's never easy. Doesn't matter what you're doing. Unless you're working on the same car. If you're at a manufacturer and you're working on the same car every day, doing services, brakes, etc, that's easy. But when you're working on cars you don't normally work on, you've got to figure out what you're doing and stuff. It's good though, it's exciting. This is all part of the game and part of the challenge, learning, and so that's just sitting well better now already. Obviously I should have known that because it was me that removed it, so, but again, this is what happens when you take cars apart and then they sit for months, so you kind of forget things, you have to jog your memory. But to be honest as well, you could be working at a car, I've seen me working at a car in a manufacturer, and you could strip the car and the parts on back order and you don't get the part for 3 weeks or something, and you've still got to go back and remember. We're just going to put them on finger tight just now because we're going to need a wee bit of movement at the back for the next section. Again, just trying to remember everything, there's obviously something that goes on there. Alright, so that spins all the way around and clamps in there. It's just small things guys, you just... I don't know why that's turned round like that. I'm going to try and get that, see, all the way around, and then it's going to bolt in to there, so that's one secure, and then there's 2 hangers at the back with a bracket, so we're going to have to find it. But that's the first section offered up, and just finger tight just now, so we can get the next section. We might even get it started today, we never know. Guys, I've just spent ages looking for parts. You can see there's a bracket that holds the exhaust, bolts the exhaust to the car, and there's one for the centre section that we've just put on. I left everything in the bottom, of that toolbox I mentioned earlier, and I can't find it anywhere. So I've got like a whole shelf of parts up there off different various vehicles and tools and stuff. But I'm raking everywhere. I turned the place upside down. You can see it's an absolute mess. Then it just dawned on me, safest place probably to keep the parts of the car, inside the car. So there it's here. Disaster avoided. Panicking there that someone had moved it. More bags of parts. Oh, no way. I thought I'd binned that. Probably could have reused that, to be honest. it would have been a slightly better fit. I was positive I binned that. I thought I'd left it sitting on the shelf. It's amazing what you can find in your own car. That's one half of the heat shield. I take it this is exhaust bolts. That's the other part of the heat shield. Guys, I'm going to assume that these are exhaust bolts for the front. I'm not sure. Answered my problems by finding the bracket. Created more problems by finding more bolts. Can't wait for the interior episode. It's going to be epic. See, that actually sits pretty perfect there. So, it is what it is. It's slightly bigger, but when you see the hole there, there's no excess there, it's a complete. So it should seal pretty well. Yeah, so I suppose a new one should seal better than an old one. So next we'll offer up this next section and we'll take it for there. Right guys, bear with me as I try and recall how this one slips in. Something tells me the ramp could be in the way. It's good to have this ramp, but obviously don't get full height. But the main advantage is you're getting all four wheels off at the same time, which is ideal. But you're still pretty restricted with the mid-rise. Now, trying to remember how this fucking goes in.
12 seconds later.
My god, I'm now stuck in the exhaust. Okay guys, we're back. We managed to get it on. Just a wee bit of patience and just trying to put some method in the madness. Trying to trace. I can see why Matty from Mighty Carmore's just cut his off. Some amount of hassle trying to shape it back in. They cut his off and then they had a new they ordered a new system which came in 3 parts, I'm sure, instead of 2, so it would have been even easier to assemble. But I'm not at that stage yet, so we've put it back in. Just when I went to, there's my light dying, just when I went to offer the back box up, the mount's broken. That was already like that. So we're going to go and see if we can find one and get ready to bolt it up. Okay guys, we're back again. I checked my drawer, I couldn't find any rubber mounts. I should have loads, but for some reason they're not there. Probably Michelle again. She moves everything, it's all her fault. But I nipped round to my dad's house and he had a few. So this one is the one that's probably the closest match in terms of distance for the holes. So what we're going to do, just to make it as close as we can, I'm going to take the metal sleeves out of this rubber mount and put them into this rubber mount, and then just to help the bolt slide in and out, and then we'll get back under the car and get that sorted out. Complete. That's ideal. We've just cut that wee bit of fabric off, whatever it was doing. They slipped in pretty easy there, just a wee bit of spray with some lubricant and they slipped in, so now we can get this back on the car. Back under the car guys, and forget where I'm going here. Where did I get that mount for? Where did I get the rubber mount? Oh, it's way back here. We'll get to it next then. So I need that nut. I managed to get that on, like I said. Just took a wee bit of tweaking, so we're just going to spin it into position. Hook it in like so. Maybe we should do the back up first. That might all slip on there. That'll just hold it from falling off on me. And then try and get you guys up in here. Where are we? This side. So this light's dying as well, and the light on the camera's this week in the GoPro thing's dying as well. Everything seems to be dying. So that exhaust mount, that's where the other one come from. So I'm just going to bolt it up. I've only got one hand just now, just so as I can show you guys. So bolt it up and then we'll get the bracket on. Right guys, just noticed that the mount that I've put on, this one here, is slightly deeper than the originals, but it should be okay. It's not drastic. Just need to hope that it sits nice. Just going to spray some lubricant in the brackets, and then we should be able to offer this up like so. That slips through there and should go in there like that, and the same on this side. Starting at everything behind as always, because they're a wee bit stiff, and that looks not too bad. Obviously there's still a lot in the middle brackets to be put on, still a lot of tightening up to do, but we're no fouling there anyway, so I think the rubber's going to be okay, and it's no sitting in a bad way. That'll lift up a bit once we get that bracket in, but we're just going to keep everything nice and loose for the moment, and then we'll button everything up. It's just kind of showing us roughly where it wants to sit. That should have been a 12. Where it wants to sit. If I'm blocking the view, I apologise. Right. This nips up, this wee battery actually nips up quite well, but it's not strong enough to like break anything unless it's something very fragile, so we're just using it for literally what I said there, nipping up. And then we'll check everything behind. Nip this up. Nip, 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 nip. And round to the back. We go. Bring you guys with me if you can see. Apologies if you can't. And then we'll nip. I need to get a spanner like that. Nip. Nip, and I'll need to nip that with a spanner because I should have done that first. Pretty good. There's some flexibility and some movement there without bouncing or chapping in there. There's loads of clearance everywhere, so pretty happy with that. Okay guys, that brings us to the end of this episode on the exhaust. We edit some of it out just to give you guys the kind of key elements of what's happened today. I just need to go around and just give everything a final nip. I don't want to bring you guys back under, you've pretty much seen what's going on under there, so I don't want to bore you. So that just means that the exhaust fix temporarily, we're going to get the new one on, is done, and we can tick this off because it's the video, so it'll be uploaded next. I'm going to keep working, and we're going to focus on some of the engine bay work while my hands are still dirty, which means we can get the next episode and hopefully try and get it up and running so you guys can hear it and stuff. Thanks very much for joining me. As usual, if you could like, subscribe. We're on Instagram and stuff now as well, so if you want to go on, I'll get the wee link and stuff just to see what we're up to on a day-to-day basis. But thanks very much, and if you could help and support the show, that would be amazing. We'll see you guys on the next episode.